So in the current video, we are going to learn how to construct simple bar diagrams, multiple bar diagrams, and component bar diagrams. So let's begin by understanding what a simple bar chart or a simple bar diagram is. So a simple bar chart is used to represent a single characteristic or a single variable. So for instance, if I wanted to only represent data for quarter one, I would use a simple bar diagrams. Or similarly, if I wanted to represent data for totals, I would use a simple bar diagrams. So a simple bar diagram is just used to represent a single variable or a univariate analysis. So then the next step is to learn how to construct a simple bar diagram. So to construct a simple bar diagram, you select the category that you want to construct the bar diagram, and remember it has to be one variable. Then you go to insert, then you can just select recommended chart, then you select the clustered column, and you can select the clustered column where that has the bars standing upright. So if you look at this our diagram, it is representing values for quarter one, and therefore that is why we call it a simple bar chart. So it is only representing a univariate data, which is the data for quarter one. Again, if you wanted to construct the data for totals, you can still use a simple bar chart. Then you can always change the design in the design tab. So you can change the design to whatever design you like. So for example, if I wanted to change it to that color, if I wanted to change it to that color, if I wanted to change it to that design, I would. Then also you can switch the columns and rows if you wanted to, so that you see how it happens. And that is how you construct a simple bar diagram. Remember, a simple bar diagram, we have only used it to represent a single variable. So as you can see, our simple bar diagram has represented just one variable like that. Now the next step is to construct a multiple bar diagram. So let's just remove that one, and to construct a multiple bar diagram, now we are going to have more than one variable or more than two categories, more than one category. So we have values for quarter one and quarter two. So to insert a multiple bar diagram, the process is the same. You go to insert, recommended charts, and then we select the clustered column chart. So then if you look at this diagram now, instead of depicting one variable, which is quarter one, it has depicted variables for quarter one and quarter two. So we can always just label it that so that it appears better. We can choose that design to make it appear better. So if you look at this, we have now two variables that are being compared side by side, and you can see that we are comparing values for quarter one and quarter two. So that is how you have your diagrams for more than one variable, which is a multiple bar diagram. So if you look at this current data, we can still comfortably construct multiple bar charts. And to construct that, we select our categories, our variables. Remember, now we have additional variables, which is quarter three and quarter four. So we have 4 quarters. So let's see what happens if we construct a multiple bar chart. So if we construct a multiple bar chart, it appears like that. So as you can see, if we are constructing multiple bar charts, our chart continues to be longer in size, and therefore I'm even finding it a bit difficult to fit it in this space that is required. So as we continue, if we had more variables here, let's say GHI, this chart or the multiple bar chart would not be appropriate, because again you see it becomes so long, and therefore it becomes less descriptive or less easy to understand how the variables are comparing there. So to avoid that issue, we have another type of chart that is known as a component bar chart. So in a component bar chart, the components are now not, or the variables are now not stacked next to one another the way it appeared in the multiple bar charts. Instead, the variables are piled on top of one another. So it means that the values for quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four are piled on top of one another so that we have fewer bars, but then we represent several variables on that. So to construct a component bar chart, we go to Insert, then Recommended Chart. So now instead of selecting a clustered column or a multiple bar chart, we select a stacked column. So in stacked column chart, you see that the values are piled on top of one another so that I have just fewer bars, but then I still have the values for quarter one, appearing in blue, the values for quarter two appearing in orange, the values for quarter three appearing in gray, and the values for quarter four appearing in yellow. So if you see, that is our stacked column bar charts, where instead of variables being depicted next to one another as in component bar charts, the variables are stacked on top of one another. So this one then occupies a little space compared to the column bar charts, which occupied more of our space. So if you look at these two comparisons, the first one here is a multiple bar chart. Let me just put it in black so that the first one is a multiple bar charts where the columns are stacked next to one another. The second one is stacked or a component bar chart where the components are not stacked next to one another but are piled on top of one another. Remember, we said that we have learned three types of charts today. We have learned a simple bar chart which represents only a single variable, like that. Then we have a multiple bar chart which represents several variables, but the variables or the components are stacked next to one another. Then we have a component bar chart or a stacked column bar chart where the variables are piled on top of one another. So if you like this video, take a time to like this video, to subscribe, to hit the subscribe button, and also to have the notification icon on for our future videos. You can also engage by commenting and sharing this video so that we help in developing a greater community for our Excel tutorials. Thank you.